Hey,
Hello. How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm great, great. Thanks.
I'm just going to set this up real quick.
No problem, no
I didn't
problem.
realize we were going to Instagram till a few minutes ago.
Okay, all
I
good.
just got to set it up. Can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. How are you?
First, I would love to really, really thank you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to have a talk with you. No Filter is a platform that is here to serve and inform, and I'm the host for fitness. And as you know, I'm your client as well for HB NutriShop. So I wanted to have people know more in the Haitian market about nutrabio and the whole science around it. And I will tell you also why nutrabio is a brand that is very close to me personally as a consumer of supplements.
Mhm.
But first, I would like for you to tell my guest today who is Mark and give a bit of your profile.
Okay. So I am the founder of NutriBio. I started NutriBio back in 1996. My background prior to this was martial arts. So I've been training in martial arts since I was 6 or 7 years old. So it's going on 50 some odd years now. And while I was training in martial arts, my whole life became fitness at that time. And I started to open my own karate studios, and I had karate studios all over the East Coast of the United States, in Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, out in Long Island. And that was my whole life. My life was fitness, training, nutrition. It started that way as a child and continued that way all the way through school and college, and then opening my own business. While I'm training fighters around the country and around the world, I got heavily into supplements for them and training these fighters on how to keep their weight and how to keep their strength, not how to, be overweight, stronger, and then drop 20 pounds right before a fight. I wanted my trainers to train at the same weight they fought at. I wanted their body to have as much strength and energy as it could when they were going in the ring. So the idea was proper nutrition, proper training. If you're fighting at 178, you get in the ring at 178. You're 178 2 weeks before, so you're always at that best skill level.
Yeah.
And I got heavily into nutrition, and I started creating supplements in my karate studios for my students. And eventually, I decided that my real passion was helping as many people as I could, and I loved the nutritional sports. So I took the martial arts and kept it as my passion, my hobby. I got out of that business of it, running schools, and I started NutraBio. It was called Nutrabiotics back then. It was in
Okay.
1996, and that was the name, Nutrabiotics. And the company was doing fantastic, because I had schools all over the East Coast. I managed schools around the country, so I had a built-in customer base, and all these people knew me, so they all were using the product, and it went very successful. About 2 years into this project, I wanted to reformulate my products. I wanted to see, okay, how can we make them better? 2 years later have gone by, technology has changed. But this is back in 1997, 1998. The internet wasn't really around back then. You couldn't go on and look up supplements and look up research. I think the internet really back then was just about all porn. That's how it
Yeah.
started, at least in the United States. You could. So you did your research by going to libraries, by looking up microfilm, by looking up journals. But when I formulated the products, I did what everybody does even now. You go to a contract manufacturer.
Mhm.
Contract manufacturer is going to make your products. And I was a young kid at the time. We sat with them. We sat with their scientists. We designed the formulas around what I wanted to do for my customers, but they were more the experts in the ingredients and the manufacturing. And that's how we came out with that initial 12 products in 96. Move forward to where I was talking about 1998 when I wanted to reformulate. Nobody would give me the exact formulas on my products because they were all under what everybody did back then, a proprietary blend. That's when
Yeah.
you look at the bottle and it says brain function formula, 3 grams, and then it lists 10 ingredients, but it doesn't tell you the dosage of those 10 ingredients. And I
Mhm.
thought it was normal. I used to boast about that. I used to boast how much effort and time we put into our formulas, and we don't want anybody to see them. And that was common back in the early 90s. But what I learned was they wouldn't give me my formulas. I had to sue 3 manufacturers When I got the formulas, I found that my products were garbage. There was nothing in my products. I was a snake oil salesman. And if there's supposed to be 1.5 grams of L-carnitine, there might have been 10 milligrams. Useless. It was all what we call label dressing. You get to put it on the label. You talk about the ingredients. It's on the label as if it's in there, but it's so microdose, so minor in there that it does nothing and the customer doesn't know about it. So that was a major issue back in 1998. I spent 98 through about 2000 next year studying the entire industry, everything, every manufacturer I could visit, every formulator, every attorney, anybody in this industry. I tested about 300 products from my competitors, and I found that it was all these proprietary blends were bullshit. They were all underdosed products. So they would claim one thing on the label, but the ingredients would not be there in the standard dose. The cheaper ingredients would be listed. So you could have a product that had 3 ingredients in the proprietary blend, and the product could be 99.99% of the first ingredient and just like a sprinkling of the other 2. Now that's okay if those other 2 are microdosed anyway. If they're, you're putting in 10 micrograms of it and that's the real dose. But if you put in 10 milligrams of something that has to be 1 gram, then you're just ripping off your customer. And that's what the Nutrabiotics line was for the most part. A bunch of marketed products that were totally underdosed and the consumer was getting very little out of it. The industry was like that. So 2001 rolled along. I was pretty much fed up with what was happening. We moved from Long Island to New Jersey to my new facility. And about a month or 2 into that, I decided we're starting the company over. And we took close to $300,000 worth of products that we had at the time in our warehouse, and we destroyed them in one day. 14 or 15 garbage dumpsters came in. We emptied them out. We opened them up. We ice picked them. We put water in so nobody can grab it and resell it or use it. And we literally threw out about 90% of everything I had worked for the last 2 to 3 years. We still had stuff like creatine and glutamine and straight whey protein because all they were unblended products in a bottle. So there was nothing that we would think would be wrong with them. And that kind of started the company over again. And at that time, I made certain commitments to the customer and to the industry. And number one is I would never use a proprietary blend again. And we were the first company to ever do that. We actually coined the phrase no proprietary blends, which is used by hundreds and hundreds of companies now. And I say that as the pride that we started that whole thing, but not to put other companies down. I want the industry to change. I'm proud of the fact that I can know, 10 years ago, I was probably the only pre-workout on the market that was fully dosed. Maybe longer. Don't go by my years anymore because time is moving quick. It might have been 12 years ago. Now you can pick up 100 pre-workouts in the market that are fully dosed and listed. So that's great. It's building a better industry, and that's what I want. I don't want to just say that this is what we did. But the commitments were no proprietary blends, full label disclosure. So if it's on the label, it's listed the proper way. We're telling the consumer exactly what it is. We took out all fillers and excipients because one of the things that I found out after and in that 3-year period is not only was the label communicating to the consumer what was in there, but there's a difference in quality in products. And you can put a filler in, like we have a protein powder.
Protein powders, they get stuck a lot.
Let me see the vitamin, hold on. Oh, I don't see it here. I would show you an example, but it's missing from my desk right now. But it was our first muscle matrix protein powder, and the predominant ingredient in that was maltodextrin. It wasn't a meal replacement. No reason to have carbs in it, but a third of the drum was maltodextrin. So if I take a 2-pound drum like this, and everybody buys a protein in a 2-pound like this, and a consumer looks at it and sees 2 pounds and says 25 grams protein per serving, that's all they worry about.
Yes.
But taking this and I filled dextrose or maltodextrin, this much of it, right? It's still 2 pounds on the front. It's still 25 grams of protein per serving.
But it's not that.
A third of that bottle is filler.
Yeah.
I'm using a bigger scoop because they have to put more crap in there, and the consumer is paying protein price for maltodextrin, and their body gets carbs and sugar instead. So that was the third thing, was no fillers, no excipients. So we took out all the fillers that were in there. We took out mag stearate, silicon dioxide, titanium dioxide, all of these chemicals that were used for manufacturing processes, but had nothing to do with the consumer's health. And we said, okay, no more fillers, no more excipients. And then it said, okay, full therapeutic dose only. If I'm going to put an ingredient in my product and the consumer is going to read that name of that ingredient, whatever it is, vinpocetine, then the consumer has the thought process that if it's on my label, they get the proper dose. That's the expectation of every consumer.
Yeah.
Any consumer out there sees an ingredient listed on a label, the expectation is it's in the bottle, and that's it. So no proprietary blends, full label disclosure, no fillers, no excipients, everything therapeutically dosed, and then I would start manufacturing. So that's it. 2001, started the whole company over. I went from 24,000 square feet and like 20 employees to a 10 by 10 storage unit with me. Nice. I didn't plan on that, but since we had nothing to really sell anymore, the company went from this large facility all the way down in the next few months to just me taking the creatine and glutamine, putting it in a box. And we didn't go bankrupt because I didn't even have money to go bankrupt. I couldn't officially close the company and start over. I didn't have money to do the filings. So, you know, it went to literally a 10 by 10 foot storage bin with a bunch of cases of glutamine and creatine that I already had, and ordering some more of that in. And I built it back up from one person at the time, me, to, you know, we have over 100 employees right now. It's now 20, it is actually the 20th year. So it's the anniversary really of this whole concept of full label disclosure. Nice. That was back in 2001, the end of 2001. So it's about 20 years since, you know, we became the first company to ever commit to full label disclosure, full therapeutic doses, no proprietary blend. So it's a big year for us in doing this. But that's, you know, that's how nutrabio built. And along that way, in that 20 years since we did that, we obviously made mistakes. You know, no company does it, but we kept to our true promise of never, ever compromising to the consumer. We never broke our prop plans. We never broke our disclosure. It was a long lesson on how to manufacture because there were no rules or regulations back then. The laws for manufacturing started in 2008. So back then it was you know, that was the next thing I realized. You know, after I started learning formulation and proper dosages, how do I get someone to manufacture a product the way I want it? So that was number 5 on that list, is manufacturing. And here we are now, 2022, and we followed this concept through all these years. And that's what nutrabio is based on, never, ever compromising in anything we do. Right now with the supply chain issue, I could have an extra 30 or 40 products in back order that shouldn't be in back order because I can buy some inferior ingredients that are on the market and fill it, but I won't do it. I will not do it. My customer knows I might have a back order for 3 months because I can't find that ingredient proper, and I'll give it to you. So that's what nutrabio was founded on, even in the beginning years when our product was garbage. It was founded on never compromising. We just didn't know better. And you learned time. Yeah. Nice. So that's who we are. That's what our, you know, whole company was built on.
This is amazing. I mean, I've read many articles about what you're just saying right now, and that's what always attracted me to nutrabio, the transparency in the information also. Mm-hmm. And I started going into the venture of, you know, selling supplements back in 2015 when I also organized this fitness, if you want, summit in Haiti, where I was having people come together and, you know, just inviting people to get into the fit lifestyle. And then I started my business supplements, and I had a supplier, which is a good friend of mine in Dominican Republic. He has a store over there, but it's not the store that represents nutrabio. Mm-hmm. And it's another store. And I used to buy from him. I still buy a couple of stuff from him. And when I was in the business, another friend of mine in Haiti, he's a bodybuilder. His name is Sasha. He comes to me, he's like, B, if you're getting into this business, you need to get nutrabio because this is the product. And I was like, okay. So I started researching it, and I wrote you guys, and I started with nutrabio in 2016, and have been happy since then as a business person selling nutrabio, but also as a consumer of nutrabio. And I've had so many experiences where, you know how when the market is limited in the knowledge of supplements, right? if they're used to a certain types of brands and you try to explain to them that there's another brand, there's so many other brands, they don't get it because they're used to their little, you know, what they're used to
Right.
daily basis. So I did the experience of having people try NutriBio. And Mark, I mean, I'm going to be straight. I'm not going to kiss your ass or anything, but it was amazing how each person I had tried NutriBio were amazed. They were like, whoa. And I even remember there's another friend of mine. His body type is he's ectomorph, very difficult for him to gain. And he was like, Beatrice, every mass gainer that I take, I feel sick in the stomach, you know, I get diarrhea or I don't feel good or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try this. Try the extreme mass from NutriBio. If you don't like it, I'll reimburse you, but try it.
Mm-hmm.
He's been buying it since then. He's like, this is the first time he tried and it didn't make him sick. And
I mean,
believe
that's amazing to
all the
hear. Thank you so much for telling me that story.
you know, those clean ingredients. And I remember one of the things that really attracted me, it was a video of you where you were explaining how, you know, you have the raw material go through phases of quarantine to make sure that you get the best raw material that you can have. You can do your supplements, and I can imagine that it's a very tedious work for you. um, and but at the same time you can see the difference when the consumer, you know, consumes the product.
Yeah, and I think that's more important now than it's ever been
Yeah,
because we have this worldwide supply chain issue. And when you're making a dietary supplement, you know, we try and buy everything from the best manufacturer. It doesn't matter if it's China, if it's here. I mean, that's all just scare tactics. You know,
yeah,
we test every single ingredient. And since so many ingredients you can't find now, you can't get bottles, you can't get ingredients, you can't get flavors. This is the time where the bad people come out and they say, okay, I can't lose my business, so I'm gonna, you know, cheat a little here, drop my quality a little here, accept this ingredient here that didn't quite pass, you know, what we want it to be. And it's a dangerous time because a lot of companies now can't, you know, here in the US, it's a 26-week wait from a contract manufacturer. Now,
mm-hmm.
companies are saying, well, I can't wait. And they don't realize why. It's not the contract manufacturer that's screwing them. The contract manufacturer can't get what they need. It's just almost impossible right now. So you have this wave of companies that started manufacturing. And, you know, they just got a warehouse and they threw in some blenders and some bottling things. And they're finding out, oh, we can't get the ingredients either. But the ones that are able to, they're producing a product without understanding any of the regulatory behind it, what you have to do. And the regulatory isn't the important part. That's just the government making sure you're passing certain things. But it's what the consumer is getting. You know,
Yeah,
you can blend something in a blender, and if you haven't scientifically validated that blend, if you haven't figured out the density of the different particles, the particle sizes, the length of time, you're not blending a product properly. I can throw, you know, protein and chocolate and some vitamins in a blender, blend it for 10 minutes, and when it comes out, it looks brown.
mm-hmm.
But if I didn't take the time to validate that blend, make sure the ingredients blend together, make sure the timing is right, make sure the density is right. When that blends, it could be at a 50% level. It looks
Yeah,
the same, but when I test it, I could have more sucralose here, more vitamin D here. When it
mm-hmm.
comes out of the blender, it segregates if it's not done properly. So it can have a perfect blend inside, but then it's and so these people are just going out and manufacturing on their own right now. It's a big problem because the customer does not know that they're doing it and they don't know what they're getting. My commitment is there's no change right now between today and 2 years ago in quality. That means my product will be identical. I will not take cheaper ingredients. I will not skip some rules here or anything. I will not compromise. Um, so we're proud of it.
And it's very, I mean, when I look at, I'll step out of the supplements for a little bit, but you go to the supermarket and you look at products, and if you're not somebody that is nutrition focused or nutrition, a little level of education in nutrition,
Right.
When you go to a supermarket, 90% of what's inside the supermarket is trash.
Oh, yeah.
But once you get to know about it and you start reading the labels, and that's when you realize, damn, I'm just eating poison every day.
Yeah. And
And
people
it's
are,
the same thing with the supplements.
yeah, I used to do a seminar, and during this last 20 some odd years, a large percentage of my time, at one point, over 40% of my time, was devoted toward educating the consumer, running around this country, doing lectures and speeches on labels and stuff like that. And in one of those speeches, I used to have two products sitting on a table with a cover over them. And I'd read the ingredients. And one was a Pop Tart. You guys have Pop Tarts there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was a Pop Tart, sugar, fructose, corn syrup, whatever. And the other one I would read would be beef this, chicken this, whatever. And I'd say, which one do you want? Which one do you want to feed your children? And they'd always choose the second one. I'd pick up the containers. I'd have a Pop Tart here, which was advertised as part of a nutritious breakfast. The
Yeah.
second bottle, one lifted up, was dog food. Everybody chose the dog food because, well, the ingredients in the dog food is something that, hey, that sounds good. I'd rather eat that than all the sugar and corn syrup and stuff like that. And it got people to realize, wow, I never think about that. I see commercials on TV and I see everybody feeding me information about how good their product is or what it is. And you could turn on the TV here and see the worst piece of garbage cereal that's 100% sugar, and it'll be sitting on a plate with some eggs and other stuff around them. It'll say part of a nutritious breakfast. Yeah, it's part of a nutritious breakfast. I could take that out, throw it in the garbage. The rest of the plate was a nutritious breakfast. That was a bad part of it. But people just follow what they're fed, and it's marketing and advertising, and it's not to their discredit. It's so difficult to weed through all the nonsense that's out there, all the things that we're fed out there, that it's tough. And that's why we try and send a consistent message year after year after year when we're doing this.
Nice. And it's true what you said earlier and how, I mean, that you're glad that, other brands are picking up into, in the right way into their supplements. It means that, the education, the knowledge that you put out there made waves in a good, positive way. But I'm pretty sure you've had some backlashes too, no? Some haters.
Oh, yeah, we were made fun of and criticized and attacked by the industry for a dozen or more years, saying, that's just all marketing scam. You're not really doing it. You're faking your product. You're just trying to set yourself apart. And we just kind of stuck with it. It started to take hold, and other companies started to realize, hey, there's some truth to this. I mean, a lot of people still make fun of me saying, oh, that's just your marketing point. No, it's not marketing. It's the bare minimum that your company has to have. You know, by saying I have no prop lens and I'm making a good product, it's not an advertising claim. Anybody who gets into this market right now and comes up with a product and their whole claim to fame is that it has no prop lens is not going to sell the product. That's expected now. That's the bare minimum that the product is real, So it's not a marketing pitch. It's what's inside of you, I will not make a product that I won't take. I will not make a product that I will not have my son take. So if I'm doing that, I've got to make sure that it's manufactured properly. So it's not a sales pitch. It's the honesty in what you're giving the consumer. And yeah, you're right. So many companies are like that now, which is great. And I say this all the time. Literally 12 years ago, if I went into a GNC or a store probably like yours, and there was a person next to me and they were looking for a pre-workout and mine wasn't on the shelf, I'd be like, now I was actually in a vitamin shop like 4 months ago, and some guy was talking to me, and my product wasn't there. I found 3 or 4 great pre-workouts that I pulled off the shelf and said, these are really good. And I showed him the difference. Couldn't do that years ago. If I'm working out in Haiti tomorrow and I don't have my product, I could probably go into your store and find a great product for BCAAs, EAAs, and use those products. It wasn't available 15 years ago. It's a great world right now. And the guys who are doing this are the ones who realize sincerely that we're not competing against each other so much. It's not that I'm taking, the customer from one of my other competitors out there. It's the idea that the pie has to grow. If we all do the right thing, if we all are truthful with the consumer, if we all make great products, then what we fight against each other is how to make a better product then the consumer pie gets bigger. More people start to take it. But we produce shit products that and we cheat our customer. That pie gets smaller, and then I have to compete against these other guys. And I don't want that. I want to grow the pie. I want the consumer to have, to understand the amazing things that supplements can do for them if they're done right, and get more and more people to be able to change their lives physically, mentally, emotionally, because we know supplements not only affect what I look like. It's not just my body weight and losing weight. It's not just performing better or lifting more weights. Food and supplements control our hormones, our neurotransmitters, our moods, everything about us. If I buy something as simple as a protein, right, and I'm using that protein to gain muscle and to lose a little weight, but this protein has fillers in it, and those fillers are all dextrose, which is sugar that's going to spike my insulin and cause the opposite effect, but it's also going to have hormonal issues with me. I'm going to have sugar high, sugar low. So not only am I not getting what I want, so it's not just a waste of money buying this container because I'm not getting the muscle build that I want, but it's actually doing damage to me because it's doing the opposite. That's what we've gotten away from so much. The industry today overall is so much different than 15, 20 years ago. It's amazing. And I'm just so proud of the entire industry and where we're going and where we're moving, because we are getting better and better every single day with consumers. There's always be that bad element out there, obviously, in any industry.
Of course.
But our industry is going from here to here in the last 15 years.
Because the thing is that the social media and the internet also gave the opportunity, for you to read more about these things. And I will encourage the audience right now, following this live, when you go to the nutrabio website and you go into the blog, there is a lot of information. And that's one other thing that I love about nutrabio is I'm understanding what I'm consuming, because there are articles about just about everything and tips and all these things, and that usually the other ones don't do. But now with the social media and the wake of social media brought fitness, bodybuilding to another level, because more people are aware about these sports, and it's not so niche anymore. More people and more people are getting into it, and it's a good way also to learn. It's a good way also to be aware of certain things. So yeah, like you said, when you first started nutrabio, the internet was not all that. So it's becoming easier to educate the people. It's becoming easier to put out shit also out there. But at the same time, we can do the counterbalance and brainwash people into the right way, the cleaner way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. I still get companies that attack me for proprietary blends and say, well, there's a lot of, you shouldn't do a proprietary blend. I mean, you should do it. You should be able to hide it from the consumer, and they make up all these excuses. But in the end, there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
If I'm a consumer, I want to know what's in there. And I think the problem comes from, if this is a drug, a pharmaceutical drug, you know exactly what's in there. You might not care about the fillers or the excipients to make the capsule or the tablet, but if you're supposed to have a drug for your heart or diabetes, it's 25 milligrams and it is exact every time. No doctor is going to prescribe a drug for life-saving or something like that when he doesn't know what's in it, right? So that's a drug. On the other side, we have food. You go out and buy donuts. What do you care about? How it tastes. Now you might care about the ingredients if you don't want to get fat, so you're looking only at the macros. You want to make sure the proteins and whatever. But you don't care. If it's a donut, you don't care how much flour is in there, how much egg is in there. You don't care about that. You care maybe about the macros, or you care about the taste, right? And that's where the labeling comes from for supplements. It comes from the food portion of the industry. And the food portion of the industry hides all that, because they're making a donut and they don't want to tell you how they get that mouthfeel, how they get that taste. I mean, I love an Entenmann's donut. Another company, has a hard time copying that because the ingredients are there, but it doesn't tell you. So we were over there, and consumers got used to that. Just like they ate food and they looked at the label, it didn't tell you. It told you macros, but it didn't tell you how much. But it's not. It's not a drug, but it should be more toward that category, because if I take it, what am I taking it for? If I take something like huperzine or ribositine, it's for my mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get some clarity. So I want to know. I'm taking it for a reason. I want to know how much. I want to be able to do the research. And if a consumer is not doing the research, that's fine. But the consumers who are should know that. If they are taking an ingredient for whatever hormonal change they're trying to do, or pump, or caffeine even for a stim, they should know exactly what they're getting. And that's what it is. We are in that way like a drug because we're trying to benefit a consumer. We're trying to say, okay, take this ingredient and get this benefit to your body or to your mind or to your emotion or whatever. And then I should know what it is. It's not a food where I'm just taking to satiate my diet to feel good or not to be hungry later on in the day. And that's what's so important. And that's what companies are doing now because consumers are realizing that. Over the last 10 years, every day more and more consumers are saying, what's in there?
Yeah.
Why is it in there? I want a clean product. I don't want all these extra chemicals. The consumer is changing because in the old days, it might have been only one sport, bodybuilding. Now it's everybody. Yeah. And it's so many activities and so many sports. But since COVID hit, that has totally changed because everybody was locked in their home. And all these people who never worked out a day in their life, never cared about their health, and that's the majority of them, they sat there for a year and they realized, uh-oh, I better start taking care of myself. And now this new section is coming out called active nutrition. It's not the person who's in the gym every day. It's not the person who's doing CrossFit every day. It's the person who's now starting to walk a couple times a week, a person who's doing some home videos. They're starting to get involved only because they know that they must. And that portion of the market is so much bigger than the sports nutrition. So it's going to grow. So we have this chance, this opportunity in our lives right now. If we're making good supplements in a store like you, and I know what you're going to do, you're going to recommend the right product to the right customer. If it's only the stores that are only based on margin, okay, I can sell you this because I'm making $3 more. This is better, but I'm giving you this. That's no good because and I'm sure this is why you do it. That's how you get attracted to us. It's like minds. If a customer comes in, you might have 2 protein powders, a whey isolate and a weight gainer. And you want to fit that right one to that right person. And that's what this is all about. Now we have more opportunity, more chance to hit so many more people and better so many lives. That's just an exciting time. Unfortunately, it comes from death and sacrifice and COVID. But if anything, I would tell you right now, the people who died in COVID, and I pray to God for them, so many people coming out of it, so many tens of millions more are health conscious now that it's going to save so many more lives in the future, or at least affect their lives and make it better in some way. So not to say there's good in everything. I hate to say that when so many people lost so much, but it does have that effect that many more people are looking at where they should be in their health.
Yeah. And it's quite fascinating because now that you mentioned the COVID, and I remember, and you were, like, nutrabio was the only, from what I saw, the brands that I followed, the only one that quickly responded to the COVID and came out, with immune line selections of products, and that was really nice to see how quick you guys, and that shows also the difference of when you're doing something with passion and for the good care and health of people, or if you're just doing something like a pure capitalism to do money. It shows, and I appreciate that a lot also about the company.
And I got to tell you, I'm so proud of my team back then because we probably should have shut down because sales dropped so much at the time because gyms were closed. But we had some of the local police come in and ask us questions. So we give them NAC and give them a few products. And that started to take off. And we realized we can do a lot of good out here right now. And a lot of people who were scared to come into work. They all came in and we created this product called First Response. And we didn't sell it at all. It was only given to first responders, to police, to firemen, to nurses. And that went from our first batch, we made 300 to give away, to then going up to 800, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. We gave out tens and tens of thousands of bottles of this immune builder, with the right mindset, not saying, hey, this is going to stop COVID. We didn't want to scare people, and get them to think they didn't have to do other things, but, something that built immunity. And our whole team came together, and instead of, not coming in and being scared, they saw a purpose and a need to try and help others. And I think we made a big difference out there for it. And that's what spawned Immune and Lungs and other products out there, because the team here was so passionate about just helping as many people as we could, uh, that when we should have been closed up, we didn't. We just kept going, and that took us through and built our whole team up pretty strong. And we're proud of that.
Nice. And also the other thing that I love about NutraBio, I remember the first time I received the list of products, and I was like, there's 6 pages of products, and I'm going through everything, and so I'm going through the list, and I'm like, there's 6 pages of products. Like, I've never come across a company that has so many products, and I like the fact, all those breakdowns of vitamins. It's not just having a multi, but the different
Mhm.
types of minerals and all these things. And I remember I have a good friend of mine who's actually following the live right now, and with HB, he's all NutraBio, Carlos, and Carlos would call me from time to time. He's like, "Did you know they just came out with another product? Did you know they just came out with another flavor, another this, another that?" I'm like, I can't keep up, and it's nice to see. And I've tried some of the new products. They're great. And Mark, I don't know what to say. I The only thing I can say is keep on doing what you're doing, because it's amazing. I'm glad that some of the other people in the industry are following the same steps of providing better products to the people. Because right now, and yesterday I was talking to my sister-in-law, because my mom, she's getting very old, and she's starting to have those memory loss, beginning of Alzheimer's. And I've came to notice that generation, they're always ending up with those same types of sickness and everything. And when I go back to the timeline and I see the way they're used to consuming and everything, and there was at the age where the GMO was getting really, really harsh in the nutrition, right? Where people would be swallowing anything to do whatever and not knowing what they're putting inside their body. And we see the result right now,
Oh yeah.
generation, and what's happening, how they're dying, all types of Alzheimer's, cancer, all types of things. And I think that our generation down now, we have our eyes open, and it's like, okay, no, we need to consume better. We need to be more conscious of what we're putting in our.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that the difference between my parents and their generation and our generation is they thought of medicine as curative. Wait till you get sick, go to the doctor. That's all doctors do. They cure once you're sick. We look at more preventative. What can we do to stop it in advance? So we're running, we're walking, we're doing exercise, we're eating properly, we're looking at the foods that can hurt us and cause long-term damage and cause diabetes, and we're looking at supplements that can prevent certain things. So I think there's a big shift from curative only medicine, which is very important. We need that
Yeah,
strong medical community, to preventative medicine also. When you combine the two, which is more what our generations are doing now, we're looking at what can I do to stay healthy, because I don't want to get diabetes, I don't want to get cancer. If I
yeah,
do, all right, I'll do as much research, I'll do whatever I can. I might have to go to a doctor, but let's see what we can do to take care of our lives now, because I don't want to live to 90 but only live to 60 in the last 30 years, just be like my parents and grandparents looked. I'm 59 years old now. I'm in the best shape of my life. I don't know where I'll be in 70, but I tell you what, it won't be where my grandmother was in 70. It'll be different because we're looking at it differently. Looking at it through a lens of, I don't want to live long. I want to live. I want to enjoy every moment of it. I don't want to be sitting in a bed for my last 20 years or on a couch. I want my body to work, my mind to work, everything to work. And that's our generation. And I hope the next generation is going to be even more tuned into that as well.
yeah. That's great. Very good. So, question for you. What first, you, what's your in all the supplements that you've been doing, what's your all-time favorite superstar
Well, I mean,
supplement?
I do a lot of the boring stuff, so we'll keep that stuff out. The multivitamin, CoQ10, all of that stuff. I have my daily regime. But I think as far as one of my favorite products that I've created, novel products, is what I'm drinking right now, Alpha EAA. I just, so many people I see drinking coffee all day long and trying to stim. The more caffeine you take, the more you need, or they're taking all these energy drinks and stuff like that. And it just hit me one day. I started to do that also. I started to drink too much coffee. And what do I really want during the day? I want to stay hydrated throughout the day. I don't want to take a lot of these drinks that are full of sugar or whatever. So we created Alpha EAA, which was EAAs and BCAAs to keep your body in an anabolic phase because we train a lot. Leave the caffeine out of it so it's not a stimulant, but put in nootropics in it so you can drink it throughout the day and get clarity, get more drive throughout the day, and put in like KSM for cortisol. And it just came out a great product. And it was designed obviously for people in the gym, but it's really just a replacement for drinking coffee all day and drinking the sugar products all day and all these things, because it works on mind, nootropic. It works on keeping the body anabolic, on hydration, and all with cortisol control, all the stress we're going through every day. So it's really my favorite products. And then again, for training leg day, is just crazy product. And that product came out because I used to. Yeah, we got.
Yes. Sorry about
Yeah,
that. I don't know what's going on. I was telling the audience maybe there's an anti-nutrabio ghost coming and ending the live every time. But anyways, Mark, since we're hitting also our 1 hour mark to the talk, so we're gonna do some end notes. If you have tips for my audience, in Haiti, we're trying to, I'm trying to educate the people the most that I can with good, fitness and nutrition and supplement tips. So if you have any tips, and of course, I'll be having that show every Thursday. So if ever you feel like coming and having a chat again, just let me know.
Anytime, Beatrice. I appreciate your support, and I think that your customer base is very lucky, because the best thing they can do is find good products, and the way to do that is to have a store and people in those stores that actually care about helping the customer and the result that they get. So I think what you're doing out there, I've looked at a couple of these, is great because it's educating consumers on what to look for, and then you're backing it up in the stores by choosing proper products, and that's the most important thing to help the consumer. If they have somebody that they can buy from, that they can trust, to give them a product based on benefit, not on how much money you're making from it. So you're doing an awesome thing out there, and everybody appreciates that, I'm sure.
All right. Well, Mark, it was great to have you. I will see you soon.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to take a trip out there.
Yes,
What's
you
the
should.
weather like?
Let me know when you come.
Yeah. 20 degrees here and wet, so yeah. Haiti sounds nice right now.
It's very hot.
So anyway, thank you for having me. Greatly appreciated. Best of luck to you and to all of your customers in their journey in fitness and their journey in bettering themselves. And I wish everybody the best, and just keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, Beatrice. Bye.
See you soon, Mark.